Hello students, welcome to Shourabh Sir's classes. So in today's video, we'll be solving a question from Hyderabad University MA Economics 2013 paper. So in the earlier videos, we solved question from section A. So in today's video, we'll solve questions from this section B, or the part B. So there are 75 questions in this part. So we'll start with the question number 26. So in question number 26, it is asked that which of the following is called paper gold. So we have to find which of the following is paper gold. So out of which we know SDRs are the paper gold. So which was the following is paper gold? It is SDRs. So for question number 26, the right answer is option C. Now we'll straight go to the next question, which is question number 27. So in question number 27, it is asked that current account of balance of payment comprises of 5 options. 4 options are given. Visible trade. So now we'll come to the next question, which is question number 27. It is current account balance of payment comprises of, the right answer is visible and invisible trade. So option C is the right answer. So current account balance of payment comprises of visible and invisible trade. Now we'll go to the question number 28. So in question number 28, it is asked that in gold exchange standard, foreign exchange reserves comprises of 4 options are given. So in gold exchange standard, the foreign exchange reserve comprises of, option B is the right answer, that is convertible currencies. So in gold exchange standard, foreign exchange reserve comprises of convertible currencies. Now we'll go to the question number 29. So in question number 29, it is asked that the reciprocal demand schedule indicates 4 options are given. Quantities demanded at different prices, various quantities of export offered for various imports at different terms of trade, quantities supplied at different prices, and none of the above. So out of which the right answer is option B, that is various quantities of export offered for various imports at different terms of trade is known as reciprocal demand schedule. So reciprocal demand schedule means what? Schedule means various quantities of export offered for various imports at a different terms of trade. So now we'll go to simply straight to question number 30. So in question number 30, it is asked, Paul Krugman trade theory emphasizes on 4 options are given: economics of scale, technology, factor productivity, and human capital. So out of which the right answer would be economic of scale. So Paul Krugman trade theory emphasizes on economies of scale. So Paul Krugman theory emphasizes on economies of scale. Now we'll go to question number 31. Now Leontief paradox referred to the empirical verification of Hexagon theorem, theory of unequal exchange, classical theory of trade, and opportunity cost theory of trade. We know that is Leontief paradox referred to the Hexagon theorem. So for question number 31, the right answer would be option A. Now we'll go to the next question, which is question number 32. So in question number 32, it is asked that commodity terms of trade is defined as the ratio of, four options are given. So commodity terms of trade is defined as the ratio of option A, that is price index of export to price index of import. So commodity terms of trade is defined as price index of export to so commodity terms of trade defined as price index of export to price index of import. So now we missed one thing, we forgot to explain what is Leontief paradox. So I'll simply write down the Leontief paradox. The Leontief paradox was about a country with a higher capital per worker has a lower capital per labor ratio in export than in import. So the Leontief paradox states that a country with a higher capital per worker has a lower capital per labor ratio for exported than in import. So we are done with a couple of questions today. So now we'll go straight to the question number 33. So now we'll go to question number 33. In question number 33 it is given prohibitive tariff refers to a situation where there are no imports, more imports, less imports, none of the above. So the right answer would be option A. Prohibitive tariff, I will write down here, is a tariff set at a ratio so high that no trade in the good concern can take place. So no trade, the good concern can take place. It is a tariff so high that it makes an import prohibitively expensive. So we will conclude for question number 33. The right answer is option A. That is, in prohibitive tariff refers to a situation where there is no import because the tariff rate is so high that no one can import a good. So now we'll straight go to question number 34. So in question number 34, so far we have solved a couple of questions. First, I want you to go through all these questions for a couple of seconds before we proceed further to the other questions. So I am expecting you guys have gone through the previous question we solved. Now we'll straight go to question number 34. So in question number 34, it is given when a country has a comparative advantage in the production of a good, it means that the country can produce the good in a fewer hours than other countries, has lower opportunity cost in the production of that good, then other countries can produce a better quality good than other countries, uses better technology to produce the good than other countries. We know when we talk about the comparative advantage, we basically take into account the opportunity cost concept. So the country which has a lower opportunity cost, basically production of that good takes place in that country. So we'll conclude for question number 34. The right answer would be option B. So for question number 34, the right option would be option B. Now we'll straight go to question number 35. So in question number 35, it is given, which of the following is not a reason to restrict international trade? So which is not a reason, first we need to focus on this, not a reason to restrict international trade. To protect infant industry, so we, in order to protect infant industry, we usually restrict international trade. We put tariff, high tariff or quota to support the domestic infant industries. Now the second option is to reduce reliance on goods with little dynamics potential. The prevent dumping of goods at artificially low prices. This is obviously a reason why we put international trade restriction, to increase the speed at which outdated industries decline. So option D is the right answer, that is to increase the speed at which outdated industry declines. So obviously this is not the right answer. So for this we say, for that question number 35, the right answer is option D. Now we'll go straight to the question number 36. So in question number 36, it is given, a devaluation would be more effective in curing the BOP deficit when price elasticity of demand for, all these four options are given. A devaluation would be most effective in curing the BOP deficit when price elasticity of demand for. So out of these four options, the right option will be option B, that is export is high and import is high. So devaluation would be most effective in curing the BOP deficit when price elasticity of demand for export is high and import is also high. So for question number 36, the right answer is option B. Now we'll straight go to question number 37. So before we go to question number 37, I want you to go through these three questions that we have done for a couple of seconds, grasp the idea, then we will proceed further with the other questions of this section. So I am expecting you guys have gone through it. Now I'll straight go to question number 37. So in question number 37, it is given, octroi is levied and controlled by, four options are given: center, state government, local bodies and market yards. So octroi is basically is levied and controlled by local bodies. So octroi is levied and controlled by the local bodies. Now we'll go to question number 38. So in question number 38, it is given, to obtain a measure of net national income, that is net national income from gross national income, it is necessary to, four options are given: deduct any transfer payments made by the government to household, deduct the value of capital used up in the production of current output, deduct any indirect tax paid by the firms, and add net incomes from the abroad. We know that when we deduct when we deduct the value of capital, so when we use the value of capital used up in the production of current output, we say NNP is basically GNP minus depreciation. So NNP is basically GNP minus depreciation. So deduct the value of capital. So we have to deduct the value of capital. So now we'll simply go to the question number 39. So in question number 39, it is given equilibrium in the Keynesian model occurs when planned injection is equals to planned withdrawals, aggregate demand is equals to GDP, CD plus I equals to Y, and all of the above. We know the right answer would be when aggregate demand curve is equal to GDP, we get this is the 45-degree line, which is the GDP, and this is the aggregate demand curve, which is C plus I plus G. When they intersect with each other, we say we have found the equilibrium level of income and output and employment. So at this level, we get the equilibrium level of income. So we say equilibrium in the Keynesian model occurs when aggregate demand is equals to GDP. So for question number 39, the right option would be option B. So now we'll simply go to the question number 40. So in question number 40, it is given one way of reducing the equilibrium rate of unemployment would be to increase tax, increase information on job availability, reduce government expenditure, reduce interest rate. We know obviously the answer would be increase information on the job availability. When the information about job availability increases, so now people have more information in their hand. So the unemployment rate, natural level of unemployment rate, let's say, which happens due to frictional unemployment rate, that is when one person leaves a job and join another job, there is a gap between these two jobs. That gap is basically caused by the lack of information of job availability. So this is why we say whenever this natural term is given, we would conclude that increased information of job availability will reduce the equilibrium rate of unemployment. So for question number 40, the right answer would be B. So now we'll go straight to question number 41. So in question number 41, it is given a rise in unemployment caused by a fall in demand for products of some industries is known as, four options are given, it would be structural unemployment. So what is structural unemployment? When the unemployment is caused by falling demand for the aggregate demand falls, then the producers are likely to produce less output. So output also falls. So when aggregate demand falls, the output also falls. Now when output falls, as a result, what happens? The unemployment rate starts to rise. So then the unemployment rate starts to rise. So when aggregate demand falls, output falls, the unemployment rate starts to rise. And we say that is the structural unemployment has taken place. So structural unemployment is a unemployment caused by fall in demand for products of the some industries. So for question number 41, the right answer is option B. Now if I proceed further, before I proceed further to the next question, I want you to go through these two questions about unemployment. Now we'll go straight to question number 42. So in question number 42, it is given the aggregate supply schedule tells us that an increase in the average price level will encourage farms to, four options are given: increase output and unemployment, reduce output and employment, increase output and reduce unemployment, reduce output and increase employment. So out of these four, when aggregate supply schedule tells us that an increase in average price level will, out of four options, the right option would be option A. That is, when aggregate schedule tells us an increase in average price level, because we know the average aggregate supply curve is positively sloped. So now say this is the price level and this is the quantity. Now when price level increases, so what happens? Increase in output. So when price level increases from P0 to P1, the output also increases as the supply curve or aggregate supply curve is positively sloped. Now given the output has increased, now the producers will hire more laborers from the economy. So as a result, the employment will also fall. So aggregate supply schedule tells us that an increase in average price level will encourage farm to increase output and employment. So for question number 42, the right option is option A. So for question number 42, the right option is option A. Now we'll straight go to question number 43. So in question number 43, it is asked that if the capital output ratio is 4 and the proportion of national income is invested is 10%, the country's growth rate is, four options are given. If the capital output ratio is 4 and the proportion of national income that invested is 10%, so we have to find the country's growth rate. So how do we find the country's growth rate? So now we have to solve question number 43. For this, first we have to write down K by 4, extremely sorry, it will be K by Y, which is equals to 4. So K by Y, that is capital output ratio, is given by 4. Now the saving rate is given by 10%, that is the proportion of national income that is invested is 10%. And now we have to find the rate of growth. So the rate of growth is equals to savings rate divided by so we have to remember the rate of growth of GDP. So the rate of growth of GDP is given by the saving rate divided by capital to output ratio. So here it will be 10 by 4, which is 2.5%. So for this, the right answer would be option A. So for question number 43, the right option is option A. So what we have done, we have simply written down the formula for, that is K by Y is given by, that is capital output ratio is given by 4, and now it is also given, that is the national income, proportion of national income that is invested, which is the saving rate, is given by 10%. Now the country's growth rate we have to find now. So country's growth rate of GDP is basically equals to saving rate divided by the capital output ratio, for which we get the value to be equals to 2.5%. So we have found the value to be 2.5%. Now we'll straight go to the next question, which is the question of opportunity cost. So in this question it is given, say the opportunity cost holding money is, 4 options are given: real rate of interest, inflation rate, expected inflation rate, nominal interest rate. Now say for an example, what you do with money, that first we need to understand. You either use the money for transaction demand. So for daily transaction purposes, you keep the money, or you save it in the bank. Now, when you keep the money in your hand for transaction purposes, it is quite obvious that there are less money to save in the bank. So what is the benefit you get out of this saving? Which is the nominal interest rate. So you get nominal interest rate by saving this money in the bank. Now when your transaction demand is more, that is when your willingness to hold money is more, you are likely to save less in the bank, so you are likely to enjoy less interest rate. So the opportunity cost that comes with holding money is of nominal interest rate. So you'd conclude for question number 44, the right option is option D. That is, the opportunity cost of holding money is the nominal interest rate. So for question number 44, the right answer is option D. Now we'll straight go to question number 45. Before I go to question number 45, I first want you to go through this 3 questions that we have solved and grasp the idea which we have talked about before we proceed further with the next question. Hello students, I am expecting you guys have gone through it. Now I'll come to the next question, which is question number 45. So in question number 45, it is given, in the quantity theory of money, which of the following is assumed? Now, falling velocity of circulation of money and constant real output, rising real output and constant velocity of circulation of money, constant real output and constant velocity of circulation of money, falling real output and rising velocity of circulation of money. So in quantity theory of money, the assumption which is made is the option B. That is, the quantity theory of money assume that the velocity of money is constant and real output is rising. Basically y by p. We know mv equals to py. So from here we have said this is constant and real income, that is y by p, is remain constant. So now we'll straight go to the next question, which is question number 46. So in question number 46, it is given, when national income is at least is at less than full employment national income, that is say for an example, this is the full employment national income, say y bar, but now it is given national income is less than full employment. Say here, by how much aggregate demand be increased to achieve full employment? So how much aggregate demand must increase? Say for an example, this is aggregate demand, this is aggregate supply, and the output is here. So aggregate demand has to come here to make it equal, reach the national full employment level of income. Now the amount, 4 options are given. We'll just read out the 4 options. That is, the amount by which the equilibrium level of national income falls short of the full employment level. So it says amount by which the equilibrium level of national income, which is this, falls short of the full employment level. Now amount by which the injection exceeds the withdrawal at full employment level. Option C says the amount by which national income exceeds aggregate demand and full employment level of national income. And the next option says that is the size of BFE deficit at full employment level of national income. Before I answer this question, I am giving you some time to think of this question and give your answer accordingly what I have drawn here. Then I will give the answer. So for this, we know the amount by which the equilibrium level of national income, which is this, falls short of the full employment level. So the aggregate demand curve will shift until this level. So we would conclude that option A is the right answer for question number 46. Now we'll straight go to question number 47. So in question number 47, it is given that the Phillips curve shows the influence of fiscal policy on level of inflation and unemployment, influence of monetary policy on level of inflation and unemployment, a positive relationship between rate of inflation and rate of unemployment, an inverse relationship between inflation and rate of unemployment. We know that Phillips curve shows the relationship, opposite relationship between unemployment rate, cyclical unemployment rate, and inflation. That is, when inflation is high, that is, when price is high, it is quite obvious the producers, given the fixed wage rate, the producers are likely to hire more workers. So when the demand for workers or laborers increases, that is, the employment rate increase, or in other words, the unemployment falls. So given this, when inflation increases, that is, when price increases, the unemployment rate falls. So due to this opposite relation, Phillips curve shows that the relationship between inflation and unemployment is negative, which is drawn with a curve like this. So when inflation falls, the unemployment rate increases. So now we'll straight go to the question number 49. So in question number 49, it is asked that which of the following is not a crowding out effect resulting from a fiscal expansion? A fall in investment due to associate rise in interest rate, a fall in consumer demand due to fear of higher future taxes, reduce import expenditure due to increased demand for domestically produced goods, and fall in demand for export due to an exchange rate appreciation caused by the associated rise in interest rates. So before we go into this question, first we need to understand what is crowding out effect is all about. So I'll draw a diagram to show it. So we know IS curve is a negatively sloped curve and LM curve is a positively sloped curve. Now IS curve is basically y equals to C plus I plus G. So now fiscal expansion, first we need to understand, is either increase in government expenditure or decrease in tax. So if they call it fiscal expansion or expansionary fiscal policy. So when expansionary fiscal policy takes place, so it goes on the right hand side. So as a result, what happens is that first, given the interest rate being constant, the income rises from Y0 to Y1. Then due to the emergence of speculative demand and money market, the income falls to Y1 to Y2, back to here. So this amount which has been crowding out is called basically crowding out effect. Now due to fiscal expansion, that is when IS curve shifts rightward, the crowding out takes place. Now in the examples it is given which is not a crowding out effect resulting from a fiscal expansion, a fall in investment due to associate rise in interest rate. Now when investment rate falls, definitely it is not the case. So for this, when interest rate falls, basically what happens is that when interest rate increases, as you can see, interest rate has increased. Now what happens, the relationship between interest rate and investment is negative. So we say the investment falls, so as investment falls, the income also falls, so it comes here. So the crowding out takes place because of the fall in investment due to associate rise in interest rate. So for question number 49, the right answer is option A. So I hope you guys have got it. Like today we solved a couple of questions. We simply started with question number 26. So from question number 26 we have almost solved until question number 49 except a few questions. So I hope you guys have understood it. If you still have any query or doubt, you can simply WhatsApp me on this number, which is 9836793076, or you can also go to our website, which is www.showrabsirclasses.com. There you will find a lot of other videos like this, and you will also get to see a lot of other materials which are needed for different entrance exam regarding economics paper. So I hope you guys got it. If you guys have still any doubt, you can simply WhatsApp me on this number, or so in the subsequent videos we'll solve other questions from the same paper from the section B only. So thank you for watching this video. I'll conclude this video here. Have a nice day ahead.